Welcome. Welcome to Ascending Beyond Limitations. Welcome to making the unknown known. Are you ready?
Wow, grand day, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of this new podcast series, and that is Ascending Beyond Limitations. And in these spaces, myself, Marcus Christolight, and our other co-host, Sandee over here, we basically explore and travel through the text and the channeled messages of the raw material Law of One book. And this book is commonly known in different areas of the world for its sacred text, as well as different downloads and channel messages that come from the galactic beings or the energetic spirit guides, however you'd like to word it, the raw confederation, as well as raw beings. And they basically are like these carriers of knowledge, and the knowledge that they carry is the knowledge that is really embedded within all of creation. So with that knowledge, it gets delivered to us in a sense of really take it or leave it, so to say, because the knowledge will always be here for us. And as we explored in the first episode, we talked a little bit about how to shift our mental vibration and our mental perspective through the densities of the different dimensions of reality. And wow, what a way to kick off this series. And I really look forward to what type of messages we go through today. And how are you doing today over there, Sandee, on the west side?
On the west side, I am glorious. I'm excited. There's so much vibrational information that's coming through that started just the night before, just kind of pouring through and making notes. And, you know, we as human beings, we were programmed or taught that we needed to fear everything that might be supernatural or spiritual based or from other. Here's the best word that I got: otherworldly. That we needed to look at that as being something fathomable and not a linear process. And now, we're breaking down those dogmatic teachings that were ingrained in us. And when you dare to step out into the unknown and make the known known, you just start growing, you start expanding, and you start evolving. And the shit that seemed simple explodes into possibilities. And that's what we're here to bring to you right now. It may have began with raw, but it doesn't end that way. It just opens up more possibilities. And we're going to have some clips that are going to kind of open your thought pattern. You do know that it's okay to be triune, because that's what you are. Your spirit, body, and mind. And you get to embrace all three. You can embrace them all at once or separately, but you can embrace them. So get ready. Hold on to your cowboy hats, because here we go.
Yes, absolutely. And no exaggeration on holding on to your cowboy hats, because these two wonderful beings of light that are on this earth with us right now. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say 3, because there's also a wonderful being of light as well that is holding the podcast space, and that's Joe Rogan. And these 2 podcasts that he's had lately, I believe within the last week to 2 weeks of period of time, he's had 2 very interesting characters on there. And both of them in their own right have this very vast well of knowledge and wisdom when it comes to the mechanics and the multi-dimensional functioning of the universe and what it is to be human. So what I'm going to go ahead and pull up here is the Joe Rogan podcast, and he recently had Billy Carson as well as Terrence Howard both on the podcast. And it is just a mine full of gems. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with a clip from the Billy Carson one, which just dropped yesterday.
It was never junk. That's just a word to keep us programmed to thinking that we're junk.
Well, I think it was a way for them to explain something that they couldn't explain.
Right. But when you use the word junk,
it's a weird word.
If you understand affirmations, you know, I would never call myself junk. So that's a weird way to do it. But now they're finding out that's, you know, and again, in the myth of Adapa, it's saying that we're going to tap into this. So I believe that all of our innate abilities that we used to have are going to start to come back over time, like accessing Earth's magnetic field with the magnetite crystals in our brains. We all have billions of magnetite crystals in our brains, and they put a guy into a laboratory, and they put a giant bar magnet and moved it around the room, and they put an EEG cap on them and a scanner, and they saw that they were orienting themselves to the magnetic field. So we still have the ability to navigate magnetic fields. We just don't even know it. We're unaware of it.
Well, we know it exists in animals.
Yeah. So we have it in our body as well. So all these things are going to begin to come back.
There's so little true understanding of like how birds migrate, like how they all know when to do it, what is calling them, what a very specific direction. Are they using landmarks on the ground? Are they just using some sort of a magnetic field? Are they just tuned in to where the North Pole is? And what are they doing?
Yeah.
How are they doing it? What is the organ that's allowing them to do it?
Yeah.
Is that something that humans have? And it went away, just like I can't remember anybody's phone number anymore.
Right.
I used to have so many phone numbers in my head.
We had to have them because we're 70s babies.
Yeah.
Oh, you may be 60, not 60. Yeah, I'm 70s, 71. But what happened was, if you look at the tablets again, this is why I love these tablets, man. They talk about the fact that, you know, they had created this being, not created from scratch, but genetically modified. They add their essence to it, is what they say, added our essence. So by adding the essence, you can see where all of a sudden maybe our ancestors were in tune with the magnetic field and were able to communicate psychopathically, maybe even had telekinesis and these other innate abilities, weren't technologically advanced, but maybe more spiritually advanced. And they tinkered with us and took away our memory, took away our ability to tap into that so we can focus solely on them.
Well, I guess if you were gonna, have you ever seen the movie Prometheus?
Oh yeah.
When the alien dies and its DNA.
So that's a little bit on the Billy Carson one. I'm gonna go ahead and move over here to Terrence Howard.
Are you guys having a booyah yet? Because I'm telling you, we were meant to be multidimensional. We were meant to vibrate.
Oh yeah.
Thing about it, and it's unlimited bonding. If you can go to what Jonathan Davis sent over, he's one of the other programmers that work with us.
Explain what it does. Explain when you said flight. What do you mean?
Tangential flight.
What do you mean by that?
It means right now, fixed wing aircraft, you can go in 4 degrees of direction. They go up, down. Some can go forwards and back, or backwards and right to left. But this is able to spin around its own center of mass. Completely spin around its own center of mass, something people are able to do it by falling, but this is a sustained system that's able to go around. I sent that other video to you. But their ability, because this is the geometry of hydrogen, any bond that hydrogen can make, linchpin can make, and what they're basically doing is building the periodic table in front of you. If you play 4 of them coming together, it's 4 like 30-second videos. I'll explain it out, but you'll see how these things align themselves. Well, this is the swarm, and they're all following this queen. as a colony, and they'll do everything that she's doing. Go to the very first video. There's 4 in a row on it. Oh, that's how it came over to you. Well, let's see which one this is. This is 4 of them that's going to come together to pick up a barrel.
And what's powering them?
Right now, we're going to use hydrogen fuel cells. But I have another system, that I was going to talk about. But it's an unlimited source of power. But,
so hydrogen fuel cells,
or you can use lithium batteries.
And how are they moving? Like, what are those? Is that like are those like propellers?
Yeah, those are props. But
okay.
But that right there, what we have right there is it's a pitch. Collective pitch. So instead of the props having to turn themselves around, instead of all the props having to turn themselves around to stop and turn in the opposite direction,
like
they just switch the direction. So it's a collective pitch, and it changes. And so now instead of going up, you're going down, but now 5 of them will come together. And watch what the 5 does so this is the end of cranes.
Oh,
this is the active. But inside of there, in weird science, I loved him.
Who did they want?
They wanted Clive Davis to play everybody's a liar. But it's like, I'm not just an actor. One of the biggest things I've done is that patent the AR VR world that we live in.
Doctor, you mean that Elizabeth?
Yes.
Whatever her name was.
Yes, but that they think everything is a scam, and then you have the Rolling Stones, you have the Guardian, you have all these people saying these negative things to where people wouldn't take it seriously and didn't even consider it. So I'm like, okay. And in nature, an animal isn't given horns unless it needs them. So our society as humans, we wouldn't be given this information right now unless we needed it, unless it was necessary for our continued existence and survival. We're about to destroy our planet, but with this, you don't need to. You don't need to, because now we know how to use the universe properly, where you can multiply that gun. We get more energy out of it than we put in, which physics says is impossible. And they gave me the patents to it. But
so yeah, I mean, whew. If you guys haven't yet, check those podcasts out. They're on YouTube. Joe Rogan Experience. You got Terrence Howard and Billy Carson. And it is some very enlightening and very noteworthy content and knowledge that gets exposed. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, think about it. We've been here. I'll use this as an example. We have been since about the late 1940s on forward. We have been processed or conditioned, I'll say that word, to believe that aliens, either they don't exist, or if they do exist, they're coming to attack us. They're coming to wipe out the world. I watched sci-fi my whole life, and I've watched sci-fi expand and grow. I've watched it to the point where I can see the story that the divine is telling in it. The divine is giving us those downloads. Then as soon as they found out, and I won't say they or them, you decide who they or them is, decided that we were starting to get information through these downloads about aliens, about otherworldly entities, that someone decided that TV, movies, everything is the boob tube, and started directing you not to watch, taking you away from the communication that the divine was giving you. We would, just like he said, in nature, animals don't get horns unless they need them. In our nature, human nature, we don't get information unless we need it. Why? To grow, to expand, to become more wise, to have more wisdom, to share the wisdom, to grow the wisdom, to expand the wisdom, and then to what? Evolve. Right? So here we're talking about when people go and they read Ra, they're saying, oh, that's make believe. We really don't believe that. That's of ancient text. And that doesn't go in our linear line. But Ra is just the name that we gave Ra. Ra took on that label that we gave him ancient years ago. He just became the deity that we believed in to get the message through. That's all. Ra is the divine of the one. That's what he came to say. I am Ra. I'm one. I can't go above your free will, but I'll give you as much information as you can, and it becomes your truth if you want it to become truth. That's what we're doing here today. Are you ready? Whoa, let's go. Oof.
Well said.
Are you, man. And when he was talking about, moving structures and him getting these structures together and then moving in synchronistic in the movement, Ra was talking about, I believe it's in this book right here. There are many other books that access the raw material. This is just the one that I got. I found another one yesterday that I have to buy, and you know what? I have to compare the information. It's written by someone different, but hey. So on page 75, if you've got it, he talks about, they ask about the pyramids. They ask about the stones. They ask, how could you do these stones? How could these, because we as human beings can't believe that the beings that built that could lift those, could move those. They couldn't physically move it. And Ra talks about it here. Okay. He says, I am Ra. The principle of crystal healing is, he talks about why the pyramids were given at that particular time, why they were processed or why they were created was to heal. That was over 11,000 years ago that was brought to the pharaohs. They had to leave because the pharaoh decided he didn't want to share it with the all. So Ra said they weren't ready. But that's why the pyramids were created, was for healing. And Ra says the principle of crystal healing is based upon an understanding of the archetype nature of the structure of the illusion, which is the physical body. The physical body was part of these crystals. We're just like he said, we're who was that said that we're Billy Carson said, we've got these crystals, we've got these energies in us. And basically, Ra was saying they used intention. They thought it. And they used the energy within us to create it, to make it so. I mean, he says Ra says, he talks about larger pyramids that were built by our ability to use forces of the one. The stones were alive. He says, it has not been so understood by the mind, body, spirit distortions. That's us. We want to think about it mentally. And what we need to do is we need to take a step back and go into ourselves, into our oneness with the divine, and just know it. Right? Ross says, he says, firstly, you have to properly orientate the placement of the initiation of those who wish to purify. You have to embody it. I'm just, whoa. The explanation is that you start at a center point with this you. In the center of the consciousness of you. You start at that center point and you go counterclockwise outside of you in intention, and then plus your energy, you can create anything. Just like in the Bible, God told Moses that you could, if you believe it, you could move mountains. Just like Jesus walking the water, if you want to use that. He walked, other people saw him walking the water. He became the water. He wasn't a man walking the water. He became the water. Intention plus energy plus embodiment. That's how they moved it. They didn't carry and lift all the stones that made the pyramids. The stones were alive, and they told the stones where to go. And the stone said, your wish is my command. Billy Carson was on to something, man, because it's 11,000 years later or more, and we still can do it. Back to you, Marcus. Whoa.
Wow. Okay. You know, I really love this. I love this topic, and I really love how much this is getting brought to the surface right now in our collective. Wow, it's so cool. You know, because when you really look at it and you like really think of your being, and you visualize a electromagnetic field or your toroidal field around your physical being. And then you kind of like visualize that electromagnetic field as being magnetic. And then when you just are able to see that and just visualize that, and then you just kind of like, you envision like, okay, envision yourself walking around, and you're walking around and you have this magnetic field around you. And that magnetic field is just consuming and releasing, and just constantly flowing in that circulation. And when you start to really see that, and then you start learning about, you know, what we touched on back in the first episode, and with the teaching I just did yesterday, live on YouTube and Instagram with the light body and energy cords. You know, you start to remember that through your magnetic field is how you attract and draw in different abundance, as well as different material forms and other things that you are trying to manifest into your life. And with that being said, the crystals within our body, so to say, our organs, each of our organs and parts of our body all have their own electromagnetic system. And that was something that was also spoken on in the Billy Carson podcast, is every single organ has its own electromagnetic system. Just like how your whole entire body does, so does your kidney and your liver and your other organs. They all have their own electric system as well. So when you start to really embrace the perspective of what Terrence Howard says a lot in the podcast on his Joe Rogan one, he talks about how, you know, Tesla was a big studier and teacher of understanding energy, frequency, and vibration as the universe. And with that also understanding the sequence and the type of pattern or formation that series creates. And that's something that Sandra talks about. That also talks about how it's manifested.
You're cutting out for a second.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, the moment you mentioned Nikola Tesla, I remember kind of learning about him, that he was kind of like a loser and he died poor and blah, 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 right? And he had all these wild theories, right? And then we learn about the people who actually after he's passed, took his theories and made it their own, right? And the theory was, he said, I could use DC power and I could connect the whole world, right? And everybody in the science industry, in that line that had their hands deep in the pockets of control for profit at that time, was saying, no, you can't do that. That's ridiculous, because it didn't follow their straight line. And they thought he was crazy because he was in tune to something higher than him. Just like they said about Terrence Howard. They told him, that you can't do that. Our math calculations and the way we use math, it's correct. And Terrence Howard said, hey, how can 2 times 0 be 0? Where does the 2 go? Where did you figure that out? Come on, even when I was studying, that was one of my questions in school, that I was like being bothersome, because I was asking a question that came up against what we were taught and what the teachers were teaching us that they were taught. Terrence Howard said, hey, at 3 years, so at 3 solar returns, I figured that shit out. And nobody believed me. Right? And me, I just said, well, if 2 times 0 is 2, isn't that going to make it 2? Doesn't it still make it 2? And 2 times 1, won't that make it 3? No, but 2 times 1 makes it itself. And I'm like, But like he said, Terrence Howard, I remember in another guest spot he did, he said that would change the whole way we do business. That would make our whole business change. And it would turn around and put money, are you going to hear this? Back in your pockets. It would make everybody abundant. So I'm gonna read. Hold on, from page 91, if you don't mind. Is it okay?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, please.
I believe 91. Here it goes. Okay, Ross says the question asked is. The questioner asked, I would like to ask, hold on a second. I'm sorry, my phone started to ring.
I was like, whoa, what was that?
that was a phone, people trying to break the vibration, but we ain't gonna let it break, okay? Okay, so the questioner says, I would ask to the first step of what we should accomplish as healers. But I'm going to bring it back to the mind, the power of our intentions, and the power of our crystals in us. Because intentions, every time we have an intention, We light up those crystals in every cell of our body. Have you figured out that your mind is in every cell of your body? Have you figured out that your brain is the computer base, right? It stores everything. It's glorious. It's glorious the way that the divine has created us. So every time those crystals go off, it goes off in every cell of our body. Do you know how much energy you're pushing out? You can never not have enough energy. You can never not be low on energy. It's about how you use it. And like Marcus said, when he was talking about our field and what we tether ourselves to, other people's energy, other people's thoughts about us, it's about that. But your energy, you never lose it. It's a wellspring. And every time you ignite it, just think of it as going from the center of your consciousness, expanding out throughout all of the known universe and the unknown, right? So Ra says, I am Ra. We will begin with the first 3 teaching learning. He says, we will begin with mental teaching necessary to contact infinite and intelligent infinity. We contact that. We're in total contact with it. We've been told we're not. We've been told for as much of our lifetime that we have just been body and mind. Right? Why? We are some powerful beings. We came from infinity and we came to expand, right? Why does Ross say mental learn and teaching? He has that, it's written mental learn / teaching. We're constantly growing and expanding. The prerequisite for mental work is the ability to retain silence of self at a steady state when required by self. He's talking about meditation. You could call it whatever you want. You could call it prayer, but he's talking about meditation. And for so long, we've been told that meditation is woo-woo, right? He says the mind must be open like a door. The key is silence. That's how you go to open it, right? The second one, I'm not going to read all of that. The divine just wanted me to read that. The second one is the mental discipline. He says the mental discipline is acceptance of the completeness of your consciousness. You've been told all your life that you were broken, that you were a sinner, that you had to fix yourself before the divine, the almighty, whatever, would even have an audience with you. I grew up that way, and I grew up questioning it. And people told my mother, her name was Ann, you need to control your child because she's upsetting the flow of things. What was the flow? A straight line of you are only body and you are only mind and you were broken. You were a sinner. You came in here broken. But wait a minute. Ross says you have to accept the fact that you are completeness within your consciousness, and your consciousness, as long as that light of consciousness flows through you, you are triune.
Tell them now.
Right? Wow. Okay. Then the third one. The third discipline is the mind. Of the mind is repetition of the first, but with the gaze outward towards fellow entities that meet. He used the word entities, not just humans. He used entities that are all around us in all dimensions. We are just living in one dimension, while other dimensions are in and flowing through and around us. And if we are accepting our humanity then we can accept the fact that we are not alone in this story, in this growth, in this expansion, in this shift, in this evolution. I'm just saying. Whoa, right? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Whoa. I was like, okay, I'm definitely on the right path. Are you? Back to you, Marcus.
Back to me.
Back to you.
Holy smokes.
Holy.
I gotta play something for us real quick, because that was just you know.
I'm just saying. Oof, there it is. At least there it was for me. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't.
Wow.
Right?
Can you read the last paragraph of that last reading you just did?
Sure. Hold on a second. Let me get back to it.
Because that, wow.
Okay. So the third discipline of the mind is a repetition of the first. So you go back to the first, right? And then it includes the gaze outward towards the fellow entities that it meets. In each entity, there exists completeness. Thus, the ability to understand each balance is necessary. When you grow patience, or when you view patience, you are responsible for mirroring your mental understanding, your patience/impatience. When you view patience, it is necessary for your mental configuration of underlying understanding to be impatient and then patient. Right? We use this as a simple example. Most configurations of minds have many facets, and understanding of each or either self polarities. What you would call other self polarity can and must be understood by the subtle work. Now, remember, in our first episode, we talked about the negative polarity and the positive polarity. Ra stated that our higher beings have come to move along the polarity climb back to merge with the divine. The divine one, the divine law of one. Everything is one. And our higher beings get to move and choose between either polarity. Yes, that's right. Our higher beings have free will as well. And you go find out, our higher beings came to make a choice between the positive polarity, which means looking outward to others first, knowing that all your needs, all your desires have already been met. And the more you serve others, the more you are served. The negative polarity is you go for self first without regard for anyone. It means you climb on other people's backs, you tell lies about them, however it is to get what you want. It's okay. Hatred, envy, malice, even sometimes self-contempt of yourself, not thinking of yourself in a higher standard, but lowering yourself to a lower standard so that you can get what you want. But guess what? Our higher beings get to choose from that. How does it choose from that? Our free will body and our mind. Now, we're supposed to brush up against fear, because fear is nothing but form masquerading as something lower, masquerading as lack, or envy, or malice, or strife, or hate. We get to brush up against it. We get to have a thought about it and a feeling about it, and we get to show our higher being what it wants in the story. And then guess what? Our higher beings didn't say how long we get to mess around in it. It just wanted to feel it. It's just an experience for it. We're the ones, the form body that feels it and has judgment about it. We get to stay in it because we want to, because we haven't figured out to let it go. To say, oh, I felt that doesn't feel good. Let me surrender that. I don't want that. That thought isn't for my highest and greatest good. I'm surrendering it. Even if you don't know how to alchemize it, you get to surrender it to that which does. The law of one. That is in you, as you, moving for you, and making no judgment against you. I'm just saying. That means, how powerful can you be knowing that you've got this beingness, this law of oneness surrounding every peripheral view that you have of yourself, that's got your back and moving in front of you. When you walk in the door, it gives me spirit goosebumps knowing that before I walk in the door, the divine has walked in it for me. My entourage that understands the subtle work that I must do and call it play. Whoa, call it play. Because our higher beings didn't come here to work. They came to play. That's why they've got this, they chose this glorious form to play in. Somebody told us once upon a time.
That's right.
And left it in our DNA that we got to work real hard, that we're born. We go to school for 12 years, maybe college for another 4. We go out and work really hard. And then when we worked really hard, we retire, get back then it was a gold watch. We retire, and then guess what? We die so that we can make room for somebody else to do it for them. But if you know that you are a powerful being, and you've got these divine crystals in you that go off every time you have a thought about doing something that's opposite of that, and you wonder where that glorious thought comes from until somebody douses your flame, that's where it came from. I'm just saying. Thank you for allowing me to read that in its full context. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Woo.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yes.
Oh. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens of this planet Earth, we have broke the code. Wow.
The code is broken.
It's hard for me to even really put words to it right now. It's just so pure, and it's like, what opinion is there for me to express right now? Wow. Matter of fact,
the divine says this one. Woo! Yeah.
Let's take a moment to ground that in. And if you may with me, if you guys want to, get comfortable for a moment. And let's take a few breaths, close our eyes if you would like. And let's relax our body, relax our mind, and just allow this information, these messages, and these downloads to integrate and ground a little bit. Because I know that's some heavy, juicy, high vibrational knowledge. So let's go ahead and get comfortable and just relax a little bit. Relax the shoulders, relax our fingers, make sure we're not balling up our fists or anything like that. And then check in with the jaw, make sure we're not clenching our teeth. And just get the body nice and relaxed and soft. And just check in and see how you feel. Tap in and feel if you can feel the positive electrical uplifting current in this space from all the knowledge and information, and just try to really be present with that. And let's go ahead and take a few breaths. Breathe in through the nose. Draw that breath all the way down the feet to the earth. And as you draw that breath, feel it at the feet magnetize to the earth. And then exhale and breathe out. Go ahead and do a few of these breaths, breathing in through the nose. Drawing it down to the earth. Exhaling out of the mouth. Go ahead and do 3 more. Okay, wow. Now check in and see how you feel now. And return back when you're ready. Open your eyes. Wow, I feel electrical right now.
Oh. Yes. And yes.
Jeez.
Yes.
Wow.
I hope everybody is feeling this. Oh, are you feeling your vibrational inner being goosebumps? You know. Whew, throat chakra clearing. Yes.
So this is what I really feel to share after these studies is, and this really just kind of rides right off of the first episode with what I was sharing, is really remembering that this human being, this vessel, this avatar that we each have in this individualness that we're experiencing the illusion of, it is the main instrument or the main, component, the main vehicle for us in our individual perception and reality to be able to experience, manifest, as well as heal and attract into our reality as a whole. And when we start to come back to that remembrance that it begins with the electromagnetic current, the crystalline frequencies that are online within our human being, then wow, we start to really step more into what you call Christ consciousness, or that supreme state of consciousness within your vessel, which can also be known as basically a 45D vibration within your physical being. So it's like a tuning system. This vehicle that we're in isn't exactly just one-dimensional. It's able to adjust at the speed of light to multiple different attunements of frequency. And I think we kind of get a little caught in the physical realm of seeing these physical avatars as these one-dimensional, dense, stiff objects, when really It's a collaboration and comprising of quantum level cellular living atoms and beings and organisms that are able to shapeshift with the speed of light through different patterns, techniques, and formulas, so to say. And when we tap into that more, that's when you step into, you know, that ancient alchemist realm of realizing that there's not really anything outside of you that you need to seek, but it's really just a studying of your own self. The being that you've been gifted has all of the roadmaps and answers that you could want for you and your universal journey. And the more that you just study it, study your mind, study your emotions, study your physical body, study your chakras, study your thought patterns, study all these things, and you'll really start to tap into different aspects of the whole entire creation and be able to unlock from within. And then the magnetic system, that makes a lot of sense because I've heard of that before. It was actually Billy Carson in a different interview. He was talking about having the crystal plate up here, and that crystal plate is within all organisms on Earth. And that crystal plate basically is a magnetic crystal that is able to sense and pick up on telepathically anytime that there's going to be some type of energetic shifting taking place on the Earth. That's why animals know exactly where to go. And that's why if we're actually in tune, we know exactly where to go when we need to as well. And then instead of being hit by disasters or being hit by, what we call death or transition, you actually kind of avoid it in a way because you were able to be in sync with being able to survive and be exactly where you need to be in order to continue your life here. Wow.
When I started meditating, the first time I started meditating, it literally took me, I don't know, about a week or so before I got what people might call a download or whatever. I believe everything is within me and everything is exploding. Every time the divine wants to give me information, there is something that's activated in me that just explodes, and there's the information. And the first thing I got was that it was from Gaia. It was from Earth Consciousness. And it was because of all the things I was hearing about everything that people were doing to the planet and whatnot. And the first thing she said to me is, she says, do not fear or fret. I'll be here long after all humanity's story is done. There's nothing that they could do to me that would eliminate me. And I just took the divine, the consciousness of Gaia at her word. She said, speak up me, not speak down me. Don't talk about everything that they, whatever you may call they, are doing to me. Give me praise that I can heal myself. Give me praise that I can cleanse myself, that I can rid myself of all these diseases that you think I have. And when she said it, it's the I think you have that. That humanity is so connected to her that we stay in the vibration of the problem. And we talk that up, that she keeps, and she has to say, just as the divine says, let that be so. So if we are giving power to the negative part of what's happened, or we think that's happening to her, can we take our that vibration of those crystals that are in here, and can we help her? Can we help her vibrationally go ahead and cleanse herself? She has earthquakes for reasons. You have a leg cramp when you don't drink enough water. She has earthquakes. Think of those as leg cramps. We have rain, right? My mother used to say, when it was raining and it was really powerful raining, God, the divine, was cleansing itself. Think of you when you cry, when you get dirt in your eye, and all of a sudden the tears start clearing your eyes out. Earth consciousness does that too. Earthquakes, upset tummy, baby. She's cleansing herself. We think humanity is constantly putting all that debris and putting all those atomic missiles in the silos under her. Well, she's cleansing herself. Every time a volcano comes off, she's doing her bit. If we're still living at the base of the volcano, we're just in her way when she's taking care of herself. But we do have, like birds have, the common sense to get out her way. She gives us all the signs. But we don't want to move because we don't want to listen to the scientists who have figured out the signs, because they have. And they're trying to tell you. But you don't want to listen because you want to wait till there's periodic clouds that are just going to destroy everything. There are things. You can come back and build again if you want to. If you really want to build at the base of her, she says, just get out my way. Let me do what I got to do. Earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunami, everything she's been doing since before we took on this planet as our home. That's what she told me. She told me, Sandee, don't worry. I ain't going nowhere. And then when I got the divine design, I understand now. This whole story, that was part of the process. She wanted to come and take on a form body and do what she does, formless, in her form body, shift and evolve. And God said, let it be so. Or divine, or whatever you want to call your higher being. And divine said, I'm going to go along for the ride. The only thing that we cannot do to her in our story is destroy this earth. And know this, that the divine has called several light workers. When Earth Consciousness said, I need someone. And all the light workers came from everywhere that is within the divine, from every portal, everywhere. They answer the call. We call them extraterrestrials.
Oh, Instagram's about to go off.
Yeah, it went off.
But you can keep going. We're on YouTube. Everywhere from every plane, there are extraterrestrials that said, we're answering her call. We're the only ones that call them extraterrestrials. We're the only one that call them aliens. They're higher beings from the realm of the divine, from the realm of absolute. So know this, the earth will be here a lot longer than humanity. I'm just saying. The divine wanted me to say it. I'm just saying it. And we're getting all this information. It's in every book you'll ever want to read. There will be a little bit that will be the divine saying, here's some. You may not like the rest of the book, but you'll hear, if it's meant for you, you'll either hear it in an audio, or you'll read it in a caption, or someone will be reading it online, like me, and you'll hear what you need. That's why I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because the divine will talk to you and let you know what you need to know, because you're asking an embodying question. If you're here on this podcast right now, you have asked yourself an embodying question. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Just saying. Ah, man. No. I'm so glad you said that. That's it right there, like it's not about forcing anybody to believe anything. It's not about really feeling like there's a need to feel any different about if someone chooses to believe what we've shared today or not. And what I find is, more times than not, when I come with that intention, I find that just about every person I come across, or I share something and it comes across them, it always turns out to have a pretty positive effect on them. And it's really never failed, because when we walk in true faith, faith of the divine, just being able to have that trust that every single motion and choice that happens, and experience and conflict and anything else, is all encapsulated within this divine essence, always. And even if I want to say never, it still is, besides my belief. And then when I cycle through my beliefs and battle with myself, it always comes back around. And that come back around is that it's always divine.
Always divine.
And
life will always come back around and ask you about something that you didn't remember or don't recall that you created. Even when you were creating unconsciously, life will come back around and say, hey, Marcus, hey, Sandy, what do you want to do with this now?
Yep.
It's basically us war. I hate to use the word war, but I'm going to say warring with ourselves, which is only resistance. The more you resist with yourself, the more the life that is trying to say, look at me. What do you want to do with me? I'm layering up here. And really, basically, it's reminding you that it's only energy. It's energy turned into form. And it's saying, what do you want to do with me? Yeah. I'm and just like you said, our chakras get clogged. It's just our chakra. We were made to be a well-oiled fucking machine. We were just made to be that way. We were made to flow counterclockwise, continuously. From our root chakra all the way up to our crown chakra, we were just made to flow. But we as human beings, we just center in on those things that we can see, and if they aren't structured the way we want them to be, sometimes we just go, "Ooh, that doesn't feel good," and then we, instead of letting it go, surrendering it and going, "Okay, I don't want that," and surrendering it from being in whatever the vibrational problem is, to surrendering it and saying, "Let's see what else infinite has to show me about this." And you've actually vibrated to the actual answer, right? So it's like, I'm just like, we were made to shift and evolve, and everything in between that is the experience of our higher being saying, "Ooh, that was a good journey," not good or bad, not evil or evil or just, not sinnery. It's just it's the experience.
It's like, it's more of like a what type of information is this that I'm interacting with? What type of energy did I just exchange with? That's what like more of the mindset is, rather than like oh man, like, God, that was so bad, like I wish I never did that, or dang, like that really happened. Now I don't know if I could really really move on my life. It's just, it's really looking at it as like, this happened, what kind of information can I take from it, and then what can I just forgive or just let go of, and continue on, make more experiences.
Exactly. It's just, and that's all our higher being is doing.
And then
mm-hmm.
and then we'll also remember too, like, once we leave these vessels and bodies, we're then gonna also remember, like, oh wow, I was just doing the same exact thing, but in a earth body, and now I'm doing the same exact thing, and I'm doing it in this body, and now I'm gonna go to a different body and do it in a different one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And really, who knows? It might not even be in an earth body. You might go into a whole different, you might want to say, I want to, do this life thing, and I want to be in, the 2 dimensions over, or I want to be in, where we believe that we're here in the third dimension. We are. We are. But I know that I have shifted. And the divine has concurred with me that I have shifted.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see we don't have to wait till we die to move up the polarity levels. Like it was thought that in order to get to the 4th density, that it has to be 5,000 years or whatnot. We can consciously move up those levels by changing our lens of consciousness of how we look at 3D. Now you know that you're looking at 3D if all you see is what you see, and that's it. You're 3D, that's the 3D lens. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it and you go, well, I see what I see is I'll use politics. I'll see that on both left and right, they're having higher beings are having a story that they want to have control on either or. It doesn't matter which thing the higher beings have decided. I want to feel what it's like to control. And other beings said, I'll play with you. What do you want me to play as? Well, you can be the ones that we're controlling. And then you can be up to other higher beings. You can be the ones that we are controlling, but you're waking up. And it's all on the playground. Mm-hmm. That's the only contract that they have. They didn't do a contract like us humans do that, we go in and you fail to do the contract. When you don't want to play, when we were on the playground as kids, when we wanted to stop playing, we just stopped playing and we walked away and we went somewhere else. That's what our higher beings do. I don't want to play this game anymore. What happens? Oh, I'm waking up. I don't want to be that anymore. Right? That's why you see sides, people flip sides. It's because they're waking up. But in 3D, there are people that don't want you to see that part of it. They don't want you to see. They want you to keep thinking in a straight line. Oh, if you're always a Democrat, you always have to be a Democrat. If you're always a Republican, you always have to be a Republican. And then if you don't believe any of that political stuff, then you can't use your throat chakra and say anything. If something's not going right, you can't say anything because you didn't vote. Well, wait a minute, my higher being came to opt out of playing that game. Mm-hmm. So what am I doing next? Oh, I'm expanding. I'm growing and expanding. I'm seeing it through a different conscious lens, 4D, 5D, who knows, 144D. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're seeing it through a different lens.
Wow.
And wow, once the divine opened that up to me, and then also told me that I was born a lot more awake, aware than my then my service was called to, because I was in hold on a second. In this book right here, Divine Design, let me get to it. There were 3 groups of light workers that were called, that Earth Consciousness called, because she was being pulled way below third density. Her density was being lowered, and she made the call. And the light workers that came through, let me find the page. There were 3 groups. So I was in what was called the beacons of light. Those were light workers that were born between 1920 and 1960. I was born 1957. They held approximately 9% of their light quotient. That's all they needed. They didn't need to wake up, right? I'm going to read this as it's written. Their blueprint was to hold as much light as possible in their physical body to increase Earth's light quotient. We call them the beacons of light for Earth and humanity. Humans considered as light workers, some who are often of service, creating difference, can be seen and felt by human collective or Earth planes. The first group did not fit that narrative. They were on the Earth plane, courageously holding light and impacting humanity through everyday life. They were the ones that were asking, why are we here? They didn't know that them just being and living, they were giving their light to the Earth consciousness. I never asked why. I think I might have asked once why we're here when I was in church, and that was my embodying question. I was different than my baby boomer friends, because my baby boomer friends were just taking it as they were being told. But that was okay, because their light was still being given to Earth consciousness and humanity to shift and grow, right? The other ones, they were called the soldiers. They were born between 1960 and 1990. They still held around 9% of their light quotient. They held the blueprints that were design and assist humanity and Earth. They were, what they would do. They were the writers and the healers and the channelers and the teachers and the activists and the artists and musicians, right? And then the next were born from that group was called the pioneers, 1990s forward to now. Those are the ones that we call autistic, ADHD.
Yeah, wow.
They were born totally aware, right? Totally aware.
So,
yeah.
Hence why they tried to set these almost like booby traps,
Yeah.
All right, let's deploy high fructose corn syrup in all of children's food, and let's deploy mass amounts of artificial sugars in all of children's food, and all these things that are going to jack up their natural energetic abilities so they're not flowing and circulating properly.
Right. So you can do one or two things. Everything that's grown is given of the earth, no matter what man does to it. But we can make people aware. We can't make them change or whatnot, but we certainly can know that sugarcane was grown. It was first grown by the divine.
Yeah.
So, if you're doing raw sugar and you're doing it within, moderation, that's okay. Right? So you can tell somebody, hey, just change to raw sugar. you know, read the
Exactly.
box, right?
Agave,
Yeah, you
raw
know,
honey.
raw honey, yeah, you know. But the thing is that I want to teach people that even though it's hard to change and maybe they don't want to change, I want people to know that they can go the other direction. To know that it's not just about your body and what things can do to your body. It's not just about your mind and what people are telling you. It's also about your higher being. Do you have
Yeah.
trust that you are the creator and that you can alchemize and change things? Even if you're in the worst place, desirable, and you can't get clean water, that you can boil it and drink it and alchemize it. That's how powerful you are. Right?
Yep.
You know, even if you're in a place where you can't use crystals to cleanse your water, and you have to go to the store and buy a Brita filter that you can hold space over it and energy over it and alchemize it. We're changing the world. It doesn't have to, I mean, if you've moved into fourth density, into fifth density, into the awareness of who you are and how powerful you are, you can change the whole thing. The whole freaking thing. And then
allegedly.
Right. And people would be going, well, what? You drink tap water and you never got sick? That's because I can alchemize it. Right? That's because I can change it. That's because I got the power of the divine, the power of the law of one.
That's right.
That's because I got these damn crystals in my head, and man, they're giving off glory. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Oh man.
Well,
all right.
I feel like this is a good place to leave off for episode 2.
Episode 2.
And
episode 3 next Wednesday. Can we do episode 3 next Wednesday, or do you want to do a Monday? Next Wednesday? All right. Same time, same place.
Episode 3 for everybody of Ascending Beyond Limitations, the Raw Material Law of One study with myself, Marcus Christolight, and our co-host, Sandee Marshall, out of Cali. And for everybody out there, I'm in Ohio, Cincinnati area, and Sandee is you're from the Long Beach area, right?
Long Beach area. That's
Long Beach, Cali.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you guys can tap in with us for the next live episode, which will be episode 3. And that will be happening next Wednesday, so a week from today. And that will be on a special day, as that will be Miss Sandee's Earth Day. And
my celestial day.
We'll be celebrating Sandee's birth into this incarnation, as well as going through more of the raw material and reflecting on other conscious conversation. If you guys found this episode or any of the episodes so far very beneficial, if you have any questions or you have any suggestions on topics to talk about surrounding this type of knowledge, feel free to reach out to any of us through our social media handles, or you can comment in the comments below, and we'll gladly go through that and see if it resonates to be thrown in here. Along with that, if you also want to be a guest, we are open to having periodic guests come on if they resonate with the energy and the intention of the space. So just reach out for that as well. Sandee?
Yes, Marcus?
Wow. Thank you for that read, and thank you for that expression today, as you reminded us a lot about the natural technologies and crystalline frequencies that we have within our being. And it's incredible because, I feel like we really tend to dampen down who we are with these human avatars and with these vessels, as if these vessels are not truly magnificent, well orchestrated and divinely crafted organisms that have technologies within it and that make up it, and different parts of technologies put together from divine essence that is, it's incredible. You know, like we're really in this, and we're doing this through cycles and days and periods, and we're in these incarnations of, you know, what we can quote unquote call image and identity. And it's just like, wow, how amazing, truly.
How amazing. Yeah. I mean, just think, if some one of you can't understand that, you're getting that glimpse. Think of the fact that when you lay down to go to sleep, you're not telling yourself to breathe. You're doing that automatically. Your body is a well-oiled machine that's breathing. Your heart is beating. You don't have to tell your heart, remember to beat while I'm asleep. Your heart does it. It's got DNA coded to do it. I mean, it's glorious. It's just glorious. You're powerful. Even scientists have figured it out. You know what scientists call you? They wrote a paper on it, and they call us, we are atomic bombs walking in human form. Can you imagine how much fucking power we have, and how we could change the whole scope of 3D? If all of us, all 8 billion plus people, woke up all at once, the story would change. It would move way beyond 5D, way beyond. The frequency, the story, everything would shift, because that's how much power we have. And scientists, they were bold enough to put it in a report somewhere that's what we are. We have that. They did the study. That's how they figured how much energy we could light up the entire world on our own with our energy. I'm just saying, I'm ready. Are you? I'm ready for episode 3. Are you?
Okay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back Wednesday of next week on Sandee's birthday, as we will be exploring some more of this raw material conversation. With that being said, I wish everybody a beautiful and blessed day. Thank you to all of you that will be tapping in and showing support and love throughout this series. And Sandee, enjoy the rest of your day as well.
Thank you. You do too. I'm about to go and I think I'm gonna do some Reiki on my dog, because I got some energy that, so everyone be blessed. You are a creator. Stand on the leading edge of the cosmic universe in your glory. Have a thought. Break it down. Discern it. If it works for you, then go create it. You are the creator.
That's right. And we're out.
Peace.
Off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Made something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Get it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go start season to go, and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we we in the building. Start season to go, and you know those crystal truths. Yeah, back up in the matrix, shit, we know this. Start season to go, and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in the building. Start season to go, and you know those crystal truths. Back up in the matrix, shit, we know this. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the roads. Eyes ain't open on me, and I ain't broke. Ain't got no cash on me, then I'm